What's up, everyone? Tara Roberts here with Win Daily, and we are talking player props for Underdog. I have 5 props for you, but before we dive in, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, check out the link below in the description and sign up to play with Underdog today. 100% deposit match up to $100. Okay, now let's talk props. I want to focus on a couple of players from the Green Bay Chicago game. This has an over-under of just 42 points. That is to be expected. These are two young teams, one with Jordan Love starting his first season as the man for Green Bay with a wide receiving core that has senior members that are literally just Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, who I love, but to say this is a young offense is just really underselling it. They're all practically babies, right? On the opposite end, you have a Chicago team where Justin Fields is looking to make a leap to that elite fantasy asset level, but Chicago itself is trying to make a leap out of getting the first overall pick. So both Love and Fields need to prove themselves as passers, but with a week 1 divisional matchup, I would expect a lot of this game to focus on the ground. And a big reason for that is both teams have really struggled with rushing defense. The Bears gave up the most rushing touchdowns in the league last year with 31, and the second most rushing yards in the league behind only Houston. While they did draft to address their issues, there's nothing that really indicates that this defense is going to make an immediate massive leap forward. On the opposite end, Green Bay's run defense issues statistically weren't as egregious as the Bears, but they did give up the 10th most rushing touchdowns and the 7th most rushing yards. They also made some additions via the draft, but they will likely keep a similar profile of being stronger against the pass than the run. So with all of that said, I have 3 props from this game. I like the over on Khalil Herbert's rushing yards currently at 50.5, and the over on his rushing attempts at 11.5. And I also like the over on A.J. Dillon rushing yards at 40.5. In 2022, Dillon had 61 and 93 rushing yards in games played against Chicago. And for the record, in the first matchup, Aaron Jones also obliterated the Chicago defense for 132 rushing yards. Yes, that is literally nearly 200 rushing yards between the two of them. Now, let's also talk about a quarterback prop. Mac Jones passing yards under 223.5. At first glance, it seems like this is a very nice, reasonable prop for him to be able to hit. But this matchup is literally the stuff of nightmares, right? Mac Jones is facing the literal worst case scenario in the Philadelphia Eagles defense. The Eagles allowed the fewest passing yards in the league in 2022. And while they did lose key pieces in free agency, they retained several critical pieces and added to replace what they lost, and they should remain very, very strong. But it's not just the Eagles defense that makes this a difficult matchup for him. So Jones averaged just 214 passing yards per game last year, and I just don't see where that stat improves. On a positive note, the Patriots have an actual offensive coordinator now. On a negative side, they did absolutely nothing to improve their receiving core. They let Jacoby Myers walk in free agency. They signed Juju Smith-Schuster as a replacement. I like Juju, but if you are depending on Juju as your wide receiver 1, you better have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback or Travis Kelce serving as the actual wide receiver 1. Now, let's do one more prop. You know, Underdog doesn't just do player props. With stats, you can also choose fantasy points. And one that I'm particularly fond of is Justin Herbert over 21.45 fantasy points. If you're looking at his 2022 stats, you might hesitate to feel safety in this prop. There were a lot of underwhelming and rough spots last year with Justin Herbert. He lost his top weapons for significant portions of the season. He was dealing with a rib injury. All of that led to a lot of sub-20 fantasy point performances. But this is week 1. Justin Herbert is healthy. He has all his top weapons locked and loaded. He's got a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. He's got a matchup with a Miami defense that allowed the 6th most passing yards last year. And while Miami did attempt to solve those issues, very admirable, smart signings, unfortunately they lost that in Jalen Ramsey, and it puts them right back at square one. Outside of Kansas City, Detroit, this matchup has the highest over-under of the week. Justin Herbert is my 4th ranked quarterback on the week. Trust Justin Herbert to hit the over here. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And most important, remember to sign up and play on Underdog today. Link below in the description. 100% deposit match up to $100.